Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're featuring the Sinn 104, and yes, I know some of you might be saying we've already featured the 104, but not in this white dial variation like we had before us here. I think it looks really good in the white dial mode. Now, before I get into this, I've got to say a big thank you to Ryan and the team over at Francis & Gay. I say it every time, but they've got an amazing amount of stock. They really are worth popping into the shop and having a look. If you can't make it into their shop, feel free to give them a call, and I dare say they'll be able to get you a watch out at a great price to you. So, what do we have? We have this white dial variant of the model. Now, we've featured before both the black dial, the blue dial, on different bracelets or straps, whatever. But this one, the white dial, just looks really quite interesting. I've seen it and I thought, it'd be rude not to make a review of this watch. So, size-wise, we're talking it's a 41mm watch. It's 12mm thick. The lug-to-lug size is 47mm, and the strap size on this one is 20mm. But as I say, you can get this on a bracelet, the H-link or the more dressier fine link. You can buy it on a selection of different leather straps from Sinn. So you can really play with this watch. I believe you can also get a green variant of this dial as well. I dare say there might be a few others. So let's have a closer look at that dial. Now, I think the white with the contrasting black hands just looks great on this watch. I love the fact, it's so stark white, and yet everything else is in black. We even have black hour markers in there. We have the black of the hands. I really like the script of the Sinn and the automatic there and the made in Germany. It just looks really good. Real contrast against that white dial. Obviously we have a day-date complication on this, and I should point out that this day-date, if I unscrew this and get an idea, let's just move that out away a little bit. Now, if I turn this in, you can see it's in English at the moment. Which way? Oh, wrong way. But we also have Donnerstag, Thursday, Freitag. So we also have it in German, Samstag, so forth. So we do actually have the two languages there. I always think the German one looks a bit cooler myself, but that's just because I'm over here. So, screw down crown, as you can see there. These hands and hour markers have got plenty of lume in them. I was really quite surprised, because I've got the black dial model, how much lume this really does produce. It's really quite good for that. Now, we also have this minute track running all the way around there. It's a classic design from Sinn, really. It is probably one of their top selling watches, I'd say, the 104. It just looks great. Now, as we come out from this, look at that domed sapphire crystal. How beautifully it blends into the actual bezel there. I think it just looks, the precision on that just looks great. It does have AR coating. It does give a slight magnification if you see it right from this angle, but I believe it is double dome. That's why you don't get any distortion in there. Now, the bezel, before we get into that, let's have a listen to the action. It's a 60 click and it is solid. There's no play. It is really, really solid. Really, really good. Now, this kind of bezel is actually, it's bidirectional, so that means I can spin it both ways, counterclockwise or clockwise, and it's a countdown bezel. So what we mean like that, you're normally used to seeing a 1 to 15, 0 to 15 here. That's a diver's bezel. This watch does have 200 meters worth of water resistance, but they don't actually classify it as a diver. It's more a pilot's. So let's say you have to be somewhere in 15 minutes. You simply place the 15, align it with the minute there, and when it gets to the lume pip, which is also full of luminous material, you've done your 15 minutes. It's a simple little thing, but I actually do use it occasionally. So there you go. That's how that works. Now, the bezel itself also has Sinn's tech in here. You see those small little screws there? That is what's called a Cattip Bezel. Now, if I was to, most watch brands have a snap-on bezel. Now, you may think that might just be some of the lower brands, but even brands like Rolex, all these Omegas, they all have a normal prized bezel. So normally you get a little knife, and you put it under there and pop it off, and that's how you remove it. This, you can't do that because you have these screws which locate onto a ring which locks into a groove on the case of a watch. Makes it much more sturdy and less chance of losing the bezel. It also makes it actually incredibly easy to remove a bezel if need be, because you just release, well, you back off these 3 screws, and that enables you to take the bezel off without any harm coming to the actual case of the watch in any way, shape or form. So it does also, I should point out, have a aluminium bezel insert, which I know some people like the ceramic, and I completely understand, but I think the aluminium on this just looks amazing, and it will fade with age. So if you're always out in the sun, this will eventually fade and it will look great. Don't get me wrong, the ceramic, they won't age, but they always stay the same, where these, you get the patina on there and they can look amazing after a few years. I've got an old vintage red sub and it just looks fantastic with this ghost bezel, they call it. Now, the case is their generic 40mm case really. It's used on a few watches, but in this variation is actually polished. I do like the very stark chamfer they have running around the lugs here. It's very classic Sinn. It does have quite a lot of angle on these lugs, which means it hunkers down low on the wrist. But considering the watch is only 12mm thick in the first place, it does sit incredibly low. Over here, we do have these crown guards, but we do have actually quite a prominent crown on this. It is signed, and as we've seen before, it is a screw down crown, so it works perfectly. Now, as we turn around to the rear of the watch, I think that's a lovely view of the movement. I'm a sucker for a display case back. I just like being able to see what's going on in there. Not everyone does, I do understand. You are wrong, I'm right. But I just personally, I like to be able to see it. What you're seeing back there is the Sleater SW200, which is a clone of the ETA 2824. And it's a pretty solid movement, to be fair, and can keep good accuracy. Normally, all the Sinns I've tested all come out within chronometer specs. So, yeah, you can really refine these movements and get them down to 0 with no problem at all. What Sinn do here, they have a decorated rotor with their logo on there. And I do like the contrasting colour against the standard silver. And it's just a nice, it's a solid movement. 38 hours power reserves, no problem. Obviously, this is a screw down case back. It does show you there the 20 bar, which is 200 meters of water resistance. So no problem. You can get this watch wet and not worry about it. Now, this one comes with their base model rubber strap. And to be fair, it is a nice soft strap. It does have their logo on there. As you can see, very pliable. There's nothing to it. It really is nice, and it just feels not, like a comfortable, great in the summer kind of strap. Now, being that this is a polished model, you do get the polished pin and buckle on the end of here. It is also signed with the Sinn logo, Sinn name up there, and you get 2 keepers. I'll show this on my wrist so you got an idea how it looks. Quick wrist check. I'm wearing this was actually my very first Sinn. I got back in 2009. This is the EZM2 GSG9 version. Now, okay, enough waffle. My wrist size is 7 1/4, and just quickly put this on, and you get an idea how it looks. And there you go. It really does sit nice and low, thanks to the angle of those lugs. And I just think it's one of these watches I find looks more expensive than it actually is. I just think it does look good. I think this one's around about the £1,200 mark. In the UK, this one, and it just looks right. It's one of these watches, especially when you dress it up with a fine link bracelet. It just looks like a £2,500 watch. I find it really does look good. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the review. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comments below. I'll always try and get back to you. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you at the next video. Take care and stay safe out there, guys. Bye.